If you have these Lincoln pennies, you may be holding over $200,000 in hidden treasure. Hello, coin lovers, and welcome back to the Expensive Coins History channel. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and stay with me until the very end, because today we are talking about two ordinary-looking Lincoln 1-cent coins that shocked collectors across America with unbelievable values. One sold for as much as $93,000. The other reached an incredible $114,000. And the most unbelievable part is this. Millions of people have handled these coins without ever realizing what they were carrying in their pockets. These are not ancient gold coins. They are not pirate treasure. They are simple Lincoln pennies from 1980 and 1979. But inside the rare coin world, certain examples of these pennies became legendary because of tiny details almost nobody notices. Tonight, we are going deep into the secrets, the hidden errors, the collector obsession, and the shocking auction prices behind these two American coins. And trust me, after watching this video, you will never look at an old penny the same way again. The year was 1980. America was entering a completely new decade filled with uncertainty, inflation, rising prices, and economic tension. Gasoline prices were climbing. Families across the country were struggling with the cost of living. The United States Mint was producing billions of pennies to keep up with circulation demands. And among those billions of coins was a simple Lincoln 1-cent piece that nobody thought would ever become valuable. At the time, most Americans barely paid attention to pennies. People tossed them into jars, ashtrays, couch cushions, or drawers. Children used them for candy machines. Cashiers handed them out without even looking. But collectors today know something the public did not understand back then. Some 1980 Lincoln cents were produced under unusual conditions that created coins far more valuable than ordinary circulation pieces. And that is where this story becomes fascinating. The Lincoln penny itself already carried enormous historical importance. Introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln, it became the first regular American circulating coin to feature a real historical figure. For decades, Lincoln's portrait became one of the most recognized images in American history. By 1980, the design had already survived wars, depressions, assassinations, and enormous political change. But collectors were no longer interested only in history. They were hunting for perfection. And perfection is extremely rare. Most coins enter circulation immediately after production. They get scratched, damaged, faded, or worn within days. But every once in a while, a coin escapes circulation completely untouched. Those are the coins collectors fight over. The 1980 Lincoln cent was struck primarily in Philadelphia and Denver, while proof versions were produced in San Francisco. At first glance, these coins seem ordinary. Lincoln faces right. The words, "In God We Trust," appear above his head. Liberty stands to the side. The date sits below. On the reverse side appears the famous Lincoln Memorial design that Americans saw for decades. Simple, common, ordinary. But hidden inside certain 1980 pennies were characteristics that changed everything. Some displayed unusually sharp strikes. Others showed exceptional luster. And a few extremely rare examples survived in nearly impossible condition grades. Inside the coin collecting world, condition means money. Tiny differences can create enormous price gaps. One small scratch can destroy thousands of dollars in value. One weak detail can reduce a coin from legendary status to ordinary pocket change. That is why grading companies became so important. Professional coin grading transformed the market forever. Experts began examining coins under magnification, assigning numerical grades based on preservation quality. And this is where the 1980 penny shocked everyone. Because while billions were made, almost none survived in absolute top condition. Collectors discovered that certain 1980 pennies with extraordinary surfaces and nearly flawless details were incredibly difficult to find. The higher the grade climbed, the more impossible the coin became. Then came the auctions. And this is where average people became stunned. One exceptional 1980 Lincoln cent reached an astonishing value of $93,000. That number sounds impossible for a penny. But collectors were not paying for 1 cent. They were paying for rarity, perfection, historical preservation, and competition. In elite coin auctions, wealthy collectors battle each other for the finest known examples. Sometimes pride becomes just as important as money. Owning the best-known coin in existence gives collectors status inside the numismatic world. And once two determined buyers begin competing, prices can explode beyond imagination. That is exactly what happened with the famous high-grade 1980 Lincoln cent. Its surfaces were nearly untouched. Its color remained brilliant. Its strike quality was extraordinary, and its preservation placed it among the absolute finest examples ever discovered. Suddenly, a coin once ignored by millions became a national treasure in the collector community. But the story becomes even more interesting when we talk about minting mistakes. Because errors are another reason Lincoln pennies can become incredibly valuable. The United States Mint operates massive industrial machines working at high speed. Even tiny mistakes during production can create collectible rarities. Sometimes dies become damaged. Sometimes coins are struck off-center. Sometimes doubling appears in the lettering or date. Sometimes wrong planchets are used. Most errors are caught and destroyed. But occasionally, some escape into circulation. And when collectors discover them years later, excitement erupts. The 1980 Lincoln cent became especially popular among error collectors because examples with unusual characteristics started appearing across the country. People began checking pocket change again. Coin roll hunters searched through bank boxes hoping to uncover hidden treasures. Collectors spent hours examining pennies under magnifying glasses. And ordinary Americans suddenly realized something powerful. Rare coins are not locked away only inside museums. Sometimes they are hiding in plain sight. That possibility drives the entire coin collecting hobby. Hope. The hope that one forgotten coin could change everything. The hope that an old jar in the attic may contain something extraordinary. The hope that history still survives in everyday life. And Lincoln pennies represent that dream better than almost any American coin. Because unlike expensive gold coins, pennies were everywhere. Almost everyone handled them. That creates emotional connection. Many collectors remember searching pennies as children with parents or grandparents. For them, these coins are more than metal. They are memories. And when a simple penny suddenly becomes worth tens of thousands of dollars, those memories gain even greater emotional power. But let us talk about what makes collectors truly obsessed with the 1980 Lincoln cent. Color. In the Lincoln cent market, color changes everything. Collectors divide copper coins into several categories based on original appearance. Brown coins usually bring lower prices. Red-brown coins can bring more. But fully red examples with blazing original mint color often command enormous premiums. Why? Because copper changes quickly over time. Exposure to air, moisture, and handling darkens the surface. Maintaining original fiery red color for decades is extremely difficult. That means high-grade red 1980 pennies are far rarer than people imagine. And when you combine flawless preservation with original red brilliance, prices skyrocket. Some collectors spend years chasing a single upgrade. One tiny improvement in quality can mean the difference between a few $100s and tens of thousands. That level of competition pushes auction records higher and higher. Another reason the 1980 penny became famous is population rarity. This is something many beginners misunderstand. A coin can have billions minted and still become rare in top condition. Why? Because survival matters more than mintage alone. If almost every example becomes damaged or worn, then pristine survivors become extremely scarce. That is exactly what happened here. Most 1980 pennies circulated heavily. People spent them without care. Banks handled them roughly. Machines scratched them. Years passed, and the number of truly elite examples remained tiny. Collectors eventually realized the finest survivors were disappearing into private collections permanently. That created urgency. Whenever one appeared at auction, competition intensified immediately. And once collectors see a coin breaking records, demand often grows even stronger. Human psychology plays a massive role in coin markets. People love rarity. People love hidden treasure stories. People love the idea that something ordinary can secretly be extraordinary. The 1980 Lincoln cent became the perfect example of that dream. Even today, collectors continue searching rolls of pennies hoping to uncover overlooked gems. And here is the truly amazing part. There may still be undiscovered examples sitting inside collections, jars, boxes, or forgotten drawers right now. Some people inherited coins without understanding their value. Others stored old pennies for decades and never checked them carefully. That means hidden treasures may still exist across America. Which brings us to the most important lesson of this story. Never underestimate ordinary coins. The rare coin market repeatedly proves that value can emerge from the most unexpected places. A single penny, 1 cent, something people ignore every day. Yet under the right conditions, it can become worth a fortune. And the 1980 Lincoln penny proved exactly that. Now imagine discovering one by accident. Imagine opening an old container of coins from your grandparents. Imagine spotting a brilliant red Lincoln cent that looks almost untouched. Imagine sending it for grading. Then imagine learning that the tiny coin in your hand may be worth thousands, or even more. That possibility keeps collectors searching year after year, because treasure hunting never truly ends. And sometimes the greatest discoveries come from the smallest objects. The 1980 Lincoln penny remains one of the most fascinating modern American coins because it represents something bigger than money. It represents the idea that history survives all around us. It represents the possibility that rarity can hide inside ordinary life. And most importantly, it proves that even a tiny penny can become legendary. Now prepare yourself, because the next coin we are about to discuss became even more shocking inside the collector world. The 1979 Lincoln penny reached values as high as $114,000 and created enormous excitement among serious collectors. And the reasons behind that unbelievable value are even more fascinating than the 1980 coin. Now we arrive at the coin that stunned collectors across America and completely changed how many people looked at ordinary pocket change forever. The 1979 Lincoln 1-cent penny. A coin so common that millions of Americans handled it every single day without giving it even 1 second of attention. Yet one extraordinary example reached an unbelievable value of $114,000. And once collectors learned why, the search for rare 1979 pennies exploded across the country. People started opening old jars. Families searched through inherited collections. Coin hunters visited banks asking for penny rolls. Because suddenly, everyone wanted to know the same thing. Could an ordinary-looking 1979 penny secretly be worth a fortune? To understand why this coin became so important, we first need to travel back to America in 1979. The country was going through major economic and social change. Inflation was hurting families. Energy prices were rising. Television news constantly discussed uncertainty about the future. And during all of this, the United States Mint continued producing enormous amounts of Lincoln cents for daily circulation. Billions of pennies moved through American pockets, stores, vending machines, and banks. To most people, pennies felt almost worthless. Many Americans ignored them completely. Some even threw them into containers without counting them. But collectors saw things differently. Because inside every year of coin production, there is always the possibility of something unusual happening. A rare strike, an overlooked minting error, an exceptionally preserved coin, or a tiny detail that separates one coin from millions of others. And the 1979 Lincoln cent eventually became one of the most talked about modern pennies in the numismatic world. At first glance, the coin appears simple and familiar. Abraham Lincoln's portrait dominates the front. "In God We Trust" arches above. Liberty appears beside him. And the date 1979 sits clearly below. The reverse side features the famous Lincoln Memorial design Americans recognized instantly for generations. Nothing about it seems special. Nothing appears rare. And that is exactly what makes this story so incredible. Because true coin rarity often hides beneath ordinary appearances. Most people think valuable coins must look ancient, strange, or dramatically different. But experienced collectors know the truth. Sometimes the rarest treasures look completely normal. The difference lies in condition, detail, preservation, and tiny characteristics invisible to casual observers. One tiny difference can change everything. The 1979 Lincoln penny became famous partly because of condition rarity. While billions were produced, very few survived in nearly perfect state. This is something beginners often struggle to understand. A high mintage does not guarantee easy availability in top condition decades later. Coins live hard lives. They move through countless hands. They bounce inside cash registers. They fall onto concrete. Machines scrape them. Humidity damages them. Fingerprints stain them. Over time, almost every coin becomes worn or imperfect. Finding one preserved almost exactly as it left the mint becomes extraordinarily difficult. And when collectors discovered exceptionally preserved 1979 pennies, excitement grew rapidly. The finest examples displayed blazing original color, nearly flawless surfaces, and sharp striking details that seemed almost impossible for such a common coin. These coins looked frozen in time, as though they had escaped decades of circulation untouched. That kind of preservation creates enormous demand among elite collectors, especially when only a tiny number exist at the highest grading levels. Inside the rare coin market, top population coins become trophies. Collectors compete aggressively for the finest known examples because they represent status, rarity, and prestige. Owning one means possessing something few others can ever obtain. And once auction competition begins, prices can rise to astonishing levels. That is exactly what happened with the legendary high-grade 1979 Lincoln cent that reached $114,000. The price shocked ordinary Americans. News spread quickly through collector communities. How could a penny become worth more than luxury cars? How could 1 cent transform into 6 figures? But inside the numismatic world, the answer made perfect sense. Because collectors were not paying for spending power. They were paying for extreme rarity and preservation. They were paying for history. They were paying for elite quality almost impossible to duplicate. And perhaps most importantly, they were paying for ownership of something truly exceptional. The psychology behind coin collecting is fascinating. Humans are naturally attracted to rarity. We love discovering hidden treasures others overlook. We love the idea that something ordinary can secretly possess extraordinary value. The 1979 penny became a perfect symbol of that dream. And then came another factor that made the coin even more desirable: mint errors. Error coins create excitement unlike almost anything else in numismatics. When mistakes occur during production, unusual coins can escape into circulation. Sometimes lettering appears doubled. Sometimes the strike becomes off-center. Sometimes dies crack or deteriorate. Sometimes planchets are defective. These mistakes transform ordinary coins into collectible mysteries. And collectors absolutely love mysteries. The 1979 Lincoln cent became connected to several collectible varieties and unusual strike characteristics that increased interest even further. People began studying pennies more carefully than ever before. Magnifying glasses became essential tools. Collectors searched coin rolls late into the night, hoping to uncover something rare. For many people, it was not only about money anymore. It became a treasure hunt. And treasure hunts create obsession. Because every penny carries possibility. Every coin could potentially reveal a hidden secret. That excitement keeps the hobby alive generation after generation. But there is another reason Lincoln pennies became emotionally powerful for collectors: nostalgia. Almost every American grew up around pennies. Children learned counting with them. Parents saved them in jars. Grandparents carried them in pockets. Lincoln cents became woven into everyday American life. So when one suddenly becomes worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, people feel emotionally connected to the story. It transforms an ordinary childhood object into something legendary. And the 1979 penny did exactly that. Now let us talk about one of the most important details in the copper coin market: color. To casual observers, a penny is simply brown. But collectors see enormous differences. Copper changes color over time depending on storage and exposure. Coins with full original mint red color are dramatically more valuable than dark brown examples. Why? Because preserving original red surfaces for decades is extremely difficult. Copper reacts quickly with the environment. Air alone slowly changes the appearance. Handling accelerates damage even more. That means fully red 1979 Lincoln cents in elite condition are incredibly scarce. And scarcity creates value. When a coin combines flawless preservation, sharp strike quality, and blazing original color, collectors compete fiercely. Some spend years chasing tiny improvements in quality. One grade difference can mean thousands of dollars. One small mark can destroy massive value. That is why grading companies became so influential in the coin market. Professional grading transformed collecting forever. Experts carefully examine each coin under magnification and assign numerical grades. At the highest levels, perfection becomes nearly impossible. And that is where the legendary 1979 penny separated itself from ordinary examples. Its preservation placed it among the absolute finest survivors known. Collectors understood immediately how special it was. Auction houses promoted it heavily. Bidding intensified, and eventually, the price climbed to an astonishing $114,000 for a single penny. Think about that for a moment. A coin people ignore every day becoming worth more than many houses in some parts of America. That story captured attention everywhere. Even non-collectors became fascinated. Because deep down, almost everyone dreams of discovering hidden treasure. And Lincoln pennies make that dream feel possible. Unlike rare gold coins locked inside museums, pennies exist everywhere. They hide inside jars, drawers, piggy banks, inherited boxes, and forgotten collections. That accessibility creates excitement ordinary people can relate to. Someone watching this video right now may actually own valuable coins without realizing it. And that possibility changes the way people look at money forever. After major Lincoln penny sales became public, collectors across the country began searching harder than ever before. Coin roll hunting exploded in popularity. Online forums filled with discussions about rare dates, errors, and grading. Families searched old collections together. Some people rediscovered coins inherited decades earlier. Others found valuable pieces hiding in unexpected places. And while most pennies remain ordinary, the hunt itself became thrilling. Because every search carries hope. Hope is one of the strongest forces inside collecting. The hope that one overlooked coin might change everything. The hope that history still survives in ordinary places. The hope that treasure can still be found in modern life. The 1979 Lincoln penny became a symbol of all those dreams. But there is another lesson hidden inside this story. Patience. Rare coin collecting rewards patience more than almost any hobby. The greatest discoveries often happen slowly. Collectors spend years learning tiny details. They study surfaces, mint marks, strike quality, and preservation. Knowledge becomes power. Because the more you understand coins, the more opportunities you notice that others miss. That is why experienced collectors can sometimes spot valuable coins instantly, while ordinary people overlook them completely. Training the eye changes everything. And Lincoln cents are often where that journey begins. Simple pennies teach collectors how to recognize rarity, quality, and hidden value. For generations, Lincoln cents served as the gateway into the numismatic world. And even today, they remain among the most beloved American coins ever created. The 1979 penny represents far more than money. It represents American history. It represents nostalgia. It represents the thrill of discovery. And most importantly, it represents possibility. The possibility that extraordinary value may still hide inside ordinary objects. So the next time you receive pennies and change, do not ignore them too quickly. Look carefully. Check the dates. Examine the surfaces. Because somewhere out there, another hidden treasure may still be waiting to be discovered. And perhaps one day, someone will uncover another legendary Lincoln penny that shocks the entire collector world once again. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe, like, and share the channel with other coin lovers. And tell me in the comments right now, have you ever found an old Lincoln penny that looked unusual or valuable? Because your next penny could be the one worth a fortune.